Hey guys, it's Taylor, and this is part one of my mini series, Northern Blue Tongue Skinks. Native to tropical savannas in the grasslands of northern Australia, they are able to adapt to extremely high humidities and extremely low. Because northern blue tongue skinks are a common skink in the hobby to keep, breeders have been able to selectively breed them to make beautiful morphs and different types of variations in colors. A normal northern blue-tongued skink can be seen as light tan, brown, with bold markings, whereas a morphed northern blue-tongued skink can be seen as albino, hypermelanistic, sunset caramel, or even patternless. It's extremely important to know what kind of skink you have when we're coming to husbandry and care requirements. A northern blue-tongued skink, which what we're talking about today, only requires moderate humidity, meaning that they only require a humidity of around 30 to 50% and spikes of up to 60. Northern blue-tongue skinks are the largest of the blue-tongue species. They get up to 24 inches, meaning that you're going to want a cage at least 4 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. So that's 4 feet in length by 2 feet wide and 2 feet high. Although this is something I feel should be revised because as I watch my little guy roam his cage, he looks like he could use more room. When we talk about cages, we also want to talk about how do we properly heat up our reptile's cage. With a northern blue tongue skink, you're going to want to provide a basking spot of at least 95 to 100 degrees. The basking spot's going to be placed at least 6 to 12 inches underneath where the heat source is coming from because you don't want your little guy to rub up against themselves and get burnt. You're also going to want to make sure that you have a cold side. This is somewhere where your animal is able to go to thermoregulate because that's what reptiles do. They thermoregulate. They have no way of heating down and cooling down themselves other than moving from one warm place to a cool place and vice versa. This cool side should be anywhere from 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. UVB is extremely important for any reptile in the wild, so we're going to provide it at home. When we talk UVB with blue tongue skinks, and I do say blue tongue skinks because this portion of my video actually goes along for all of them, you're going to want to make sure that they have a linear T5 HO 10.0 or at least a T5 10.0 12% UVB bulb. This is going to make sure that your animal is getting everything that they possibly need. Northern blue-tongued skinks are a ground-dwelling species. So in this scenario, we want to be able to provide them with plenty of ground opportunities with a little bit of height added to them. I like to give my boy, Blue, a mixture of 60% topsoil, 30% Repti chips, and 10% organic play sand. I do a nice mix with my topsoil, my play sand, and I add my Repti chips on top. Northern blue tongue skinks and, well, blue tongue skinks in general have an extremely varied diet in the wild, and our job as reptile owners is to mimic that to the best of our abilities. When feeding your blue tongue skink, it's very dependent on the age of blue tongue skink you have. If you have a 0 to 8 month blue tongue skink, you're going to feed them daily. You're going to give them 60 to 70% protein, 30% vegetables, and about 10% of fruits. Subadult blue tongue skinks are going to eat about 5 to 6 times a week. They're going to require 50% protein, 40% vegetables, and about 10% of fruit. At 1 years of age to 8 years of age, you're going to drastically cut your skink back on food. You're going to feed them about every other day, so 3 to 4 times a week. This is going to be a mixture of 50% protein, 50% vegetables, and the occasional fruit. And when we say occasional for adults, we do mean occasional because it's come to shown that too much fruit for a blue tongue skink as an adult can cause severe obesity and even cause digestive issues in captivity. If your skink is 8 years plus, congratulations to you. I'm happy. I hope my boy makes it to that age, and one day I can look back on this video and think about all the way we've come. With that being said, a senior skink, 8 years of age or even older, because they are a 15 to 20-year commitment, will only eat 2 to 3 times a day. They're going to significantly slow down on how active they are, which means they're going to require more protein and a lot more fiber than what a standard adult skink would. So, what protein, vegetables, and fruits are good for your skink? When we talk protein, we want to make sure that whatever proteins we're feeding our skinks have been thoroughly cooked. Some good protein options consists of turkey, chicken, scrambled eggs, hard-boiled egg, or even lean ground beef. For vegetables, you're going to want to make sure to use things such as bell peppers, peas, green beans, mustard greens, dandelion greens, turnip greens, collard greens. When preparing your blue tongue skinks food, you want to make sure that the food isn't any bigger than the width between their eyes. This way, they have a better chance of being able to swallow their food without causing any choking issues and properly digest their meals. Each one of your skinks meals should be dusted with calcium without D3 to ensure that you don't run across any issues like MBD, which is metabolic bone disease. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video that I made on Blue, my northern blue tongue skink, and I hope you enjoyed some of the little extra details I threw in there about food and husbandry requirements. I hope you guys stay tuned, like, follow, and I will see you next week when I talk about Indonesian blue tongue skinks.